The meeting is now reconvened to open session. The board would like to remind the public that this meeting is being audio and video recorded and is also available via live stream. The live stream link can be found on the front page of the RUSD website. Trustee Sutherland, will you please report out action taken in closed session?
Yes. In closed session, the board voted to approve the appointment of Freddie Castro for the position of Assistant Principal, Quarry Trail Elementary School. The vote was unanimous. In closed session, the board voted to approve the appointment of Matt Murphy for the position of Principal, Cobblestone Elementary School. The vote was unanimous. Oh, what did I say? In closed session, the board voted to approve the appointment of Bevan Glover for the position of Assistant Director of Data Assessment, School Programs, and Accountability. The vote was unanimous. Thank you.
All right, tonight we have Lucas Marquardt from Whitney High School as our student board representative. Lucas, will you please introduce the color guard and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Rocklin Unified School District's Junior ROTC Color Guard and the Pledge of Allegiance. The commander and U.S. flag bearer for this evening's color guard is Cadet Captain Sophia Burkhalter. The state flag is carried by Cadet Master Sergeant Madison Card. The right guard is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel McKenna McVicker. The left guard is Cadet Major Audrey Threlkel. The alternate for tonight is Cadet First Lieutenant Wyatt Gilmer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm excited to say we have a lot of special recognitions this evening, and we will now move to that portion of our agenda. Chief Dosanjh, will you introduce our family partners in education recognition tonight?
Good evening, President Hupp, trustees, and Superintendent Stock. The Family Partners in Education program is an opportunity for the Rocklin Unified School District to acknowledge and appreciate family engagement and involvement, thereby supporting our students in achieving excellence throughout the school year. Tonight, Whitney High School Principal Scott Collins is introducing the Bliss family for tonight's Family Partners in Education recognition.
Friends, tonight the Board of Trustees would like to recognize Ken Bliss. Ken's connection to Whitney softball began back in 2005, the very year the school opened. At that time, he was serving as the president of Rocklin Girls Fast Pitch Softball. From the start, Ken made sure the Whitney program had everything it needed to thrive, setting a foundation of support that continues 2 decades later. Since then, Ken has given countless hours, nearly every weekend, to maintaining and beautifying the softball fields. His work is everywhere you look, from reversing the bullpen, painting backstops and dugouts, watering and dragging the infield, to his latest project, installing field sprinklers. If something needs to be done, Ken is there, often at the drop of a hat. His commitment goes far beyond simple maintenance. What Ken does is an act of pride and love for this program, for the players, and for the school. He treats these fields as his own, pouring time, effort, and heart into making sure every athlete has a place they can be proud of to call home. Ken's connection to Whitney runs deep. Both of his daughters graduated from Whitney High School, and one proudly played for the Whitney High School softball program. Yet even after his daughters moved on, Ken never stopped showing up. His loyalty to Whitney softball has never wavered. To say that Ken is part of the Whitney softball program would be an understatement. Ken Bliss is Whitney softball. His hard work, his care, and his spirit have become part of the program's identity. The fields, the players, and the community all shine brighter because of him. We proudly recognize and thank Ken for his unwavering dedication and years of selfless service. Whitney softball simply would not be the same without him.
So I got a little something. Hang on, we got more. So put it all together. I can tell you, so this is personal experience. So came to the neighborhood, was a pony baseball guy, had some questions about field stuff, and the first recommendation, you should call Ken Bliss at Whitney High School. And I was like, my kids don't go to high school, I don't even know who this guy is. Went out, chatted with him, borrowed equipment, because he had one of everything with an extra, you can do this to make this happen. Amazing, helped us out. More field guys and more youth baseball, softball people have all come out. Thank you very much. I can say, and I can say it because I have my other boy here, let's see, section champions because of this guy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good job. But back to back. So we're not keeping score, right?
Yeah, no. Last year's was a particularly exciting game, the section championship.
So just amazing. Again, one of those people, one of those folks that comes out, helps out, is a part of the community, part of the school, always there. I know at the drop of a hat for, hey, I need this. Magically, he finds time to come out and make it work. So thank you again. Kids, and I'm sure they'll say, hey, thanks, coach. But it's amazing when people come out that are not from the community. They're like, wow, these are really nice. I'm like, yeah, don't even talk. Don't even bother. He's a legend. Do not talk to him. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bring the camera. Yeah,
All right, thank you again so much. Chief Dosanjh, will you introduce our employee recognition tonight?
President Hupp, trustees, and Superintendent Stock. Tonight for our employee recognition, Valley View Elementary Principal Kaylee Bray will join us to introduce Yvonne Goyhenich.
Good evening. Tonight, the Board of Trustees would like to recognize Yvonne Goyhenich, the Principal Secretary at Valley View Elementary. Yvonne's story at Valley View is a 25-year journey of dedication. She first joined us in 2001 as an involved parent, and as her 3 children, now successful adults, grew up, Yvonne grew with us. Since 2006, she has served our community as an instructional aide, a special education aide, and a school clerk. I first worked with Yvonne in my previous curriculum role, where her meticulous attention to detail made a lasting impression. In fact, it was that specific dedication that gave me the confidence that we would make an incredible team if I ever had the opportunity to lead Valley View. Today, Yvonne is the true backbone of our school. Her colleagues describe her as a major asset who is reliable, consistent, and works tirelessly. She is often the first to arrive and the last to leave, ensuring our teachers have everything they need to be successful. What makes our partnership so special is that we've reached a point where we're often inside each other's heads. While I'm constantly trying to pull her into the digital world of shared docs, Yvonne remains a dedicated paper and pencil gal. However, her talent for organization is my safety net. Whenever I need to find something, I know she will have it tucked away. She will have it tucked away in her email or organized in her paper files, ready to save the day. What sets Yvonne apart is her willingness to step into any gap. On any given day, you might find her at crossing guard duty, assisting in the health office, or even helping support a student who is actively rearranging the furniture in their classroom, or who has decided that they need a bit more outdoor time than the schedule allows. She has a beautiful heart for our students. When a child is struggling, Yvonne is that steady maternal presence who makes them feel safe and supported. Yvonne famously shies away from the spotlight. Getting her here tonight was no small feat. But it is essential that we celebrate the woman who makes the magic of Valley View happen behind the scenes. With her husband Noel here tonight, we thank the entire Goyhenech family for the decades of service Yvonne has given to us. Yvonne, thank you for keeping us organized and being the steady hand that guides our school. Congratulations.
Hi, Yvonne. I'm glad you were willing to come tonight. I get it, but I think you deserve to have a little attention put on you. So I wanted to give you this certificate on behalf of the board and say thank you and a little gift. I really love hearing stories about parent volunteers who come to school, spend time there, fall in love with it, and want to make it official and get a job. So just thank you. Valley View is so special. I understand why you wanted to be there and work with Principal Bray. And just thank you for your flexibility. It sounds like you wear a lot of hats and just putting in the hours to make everything run smoothly and everyone feels prepared. Thank you so much.
Next, we ask you to continue with the recognition of Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, AFJROTC School Board Color Guard, and JROTC for the 25-26 school year.
President Hupp, trustees, and Superintendent Stock. Tonight's board meeting is the last one while schools are in session. We would like to have the board recognize the Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps School Board Color Guard for their contribution, dedication, and commitment to presenting the colors during board meetings throughout the 2025-26 school year. Part of the Color Guard includes Cadet Captain Sophia Burkhalter, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel McKenna McVicker, Cadet Major Audrey Thurell-Kell, Cadet Captain Gavin Lee, Cadet Captain Maverick Wynn, Cadet First Lieutenant Wyatt Gilmore, Cadet Master Sergeant Madison Card, led by instructors Major Jennifer Pearl and Senior Master Sergeant Adam Eastland. Please
And-
come up.
Yes, and Major Pearl, come up as well, and we're all going to come down. And do we have Major Pearl? Oh, she's not. Okay. So are you in her place? Okay. So I will read the names and hand them to you, and then you could hand them out. And we would love it if they would come down and shake our hands. Okay. I think I might. Can you hand them to me one at a time so I can? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have. Thank you. Actually. Yes, that's for the color guard in general. Oh, no, do they not have names on them? Oh, there it is. So let's see. Okay. So this one is for Sergeant Evan Owen. Not here, okay. Madison Card. And then Madison, after you shake our hands, if you'll go stand right there. Congratulations and thank you for all you've done. Wyatt Gilmer. Thank you, Wyatt. Maverick Hyun. Whoop, hold on, Maverick, come back. Thank you. Cadet Captain Gavin Lee. Cadet Major Audrey Threlkel. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel McKenna McVicker. And Cadet Captain Sophia Burkhalter. Thank you so much, Sophia. And now, Chief Dosanjh, will you go ahead and introduce our student board representatives for the 25-26 school year?
Absolutely. Tonight, we would like to recognize the 2025-26 student board members who have demonstrated professional civic engagement in representing the RUSD student body. Lucas Marcourt, Whitney High School. Nikki Tellez, Victory High School. Isabella Oliveras, Rocklin High School.
Okay, we're going to kick it off with Nikki. Nikki Tellez with Victory High School Rocklin Alternative Education Center. Okay, they gave me a lot to read, but it's all phenomenal, so I have to read it all. I apologize for embarrassing you in advance. Spanning the entrance arc of Victory High, a message reads, "Victory belongs to the most persevering." And I can state without reservation that Nikki Tellez is one of the most kind-hearted, most compassionate, and most persevering individuals you'll ever meet. Nikki moved from Los Banos her freshman year, February 2023, enrolling at Rocklin High School. She continued 9th and 10th grade, and in 2024, Nikki became a Panther, joining Victory High School her junior year. Her commitment to academics earned her a perfect 4.0 GPA her entire, definitely deserving of an applause, her entire junior and senior year, as well as an early November graduation. Nikki's leadership, dedication, and compassionate nature was immediately recognized by students and staff alike. Nominated by her peers, Nikki served as Victory High ASB president and represented Rocklin Alternative Education Center as our student representative to the Board of Trustees. During her tenure at Victory, she was a representative of the LCAP Student Forum, an active member of multiple clubs, and received multiple academic, attendance, and character recognition awards. Nikki has always enjoyed time with family and friends, and most recently has taken on fishing as a new hobby. I did not know that. Nikki's long-term plans are to become a neonatologist? Oh, a NICU doctor, yes, where she can provide intensive care for newborns and support families through the recovery process. For those that know Nikki, this is something she was born to do. We know that wherever Nikki goes, she will bring about greatness. We are incredibly grateful to have been a part of her journey and wish her the best as she pursues her dreams. I just have to say, before we give her one more round of applause, what an absolute honor it is, Nikki, to have you represent all of Victory and RAYAC up here on the board. It's so important to us that your voice is heard, and so I appreciate not only getting to know you, the way you represent your student body well, but also just the contagious personality that you bring with you. You have a genuine care for others, and you truly are going to make a difference out there. We congratulate you, Nikki, and thank you for serving on the board.
Okay, I am lucky that I get to talk about Lucas tonight, especially since it's a treat because I've known him since he was a little boy. And so that's kind of fun, a personal connection that I love. So this was written by Jesse Armas, the activity director at Whitney High School. And I love it because he works so closely with you. And so what he says is really, really great. Lucas stepped into the role as Associated Student Body President with a lot of enthusiasm and focus. He came in with the mindset that if more relationships were built within the leadership program, the group would work better together, thus more would get done. This year, Lucas did a phenomenal job of being there for every student in the program. He was approachable and everyone respected him. Lucas is one of the most coachable students I have met, and I appreciate his willingness to accept constructive criticism and then improving his leadership skills based on the feedback given. Lucas and his fellow ASB officers brought back the Cap Pack Royale to the leadership program. The objective of the program was to have students within the class bond with different students outside of their committee. The students enjoyed the games and appreciated his work to bring this to the class. Lucas has always taken on rigorous class schedule and done well in them. This is evident with his high point grade average, but also his ability to build special bonds that will be remembered about him. Lucas is a 4-year leadership program student, CSF and Student Visionary of the Year Club member, and board member this year. He is off to the University of California at Berkeley, and we look forward to having him come back and share his college experience with us. His sense of humor will be missed in the program. Congratulations and good luck, Lucas. We appreciate so much working with you and especially enjoy your smile and the leadership that you've brought, the voice that you've brought from Whitney High School. So we just wish you the very best. I'm sure you're off for big things. So.
All right, I get to do Isabella Olivares. Isabella, this was written by John Thompson. Okay, Isabella is an outstanding young lady. I was proud to work alongside her this year and amazed at her growth. Dedicating 4 years of her life to student government is a testament to who she is as a person. She fully embraces the philosophy of trying to make the world a better place by utilizing what she has at her disposal. Each and every day, she came to Rocklin High School with a smile on her face, a positive attitude, and the determination to make a difference, even if it was only possible in small doses. Her most impressive trait would be genuine and organic empathy. She cares deeply about her community and the people in it. She is incredibly well-liked and respected simply because she models proactive, positive behaviors and attitudes. People want to be around her simply because the world seems happier when she's around. She constantly tries to see things through other people's point of view and reflects on her own behavior with the intent of simply getting better. Isabella has made an amazingly positive impact on Rocklin High School, and she will be sorely missed when she moves on to bigger and better places, making them better as well. Isabella, I can say, having sat with you on the board, I see all of these qualities in you. We don't get a ton of opportunity to socialize up here, but this manages to come through in everything that you do. You are such a positive force, and I'm excited for whoever gets to work with you next, even though we'll miss you. All right, will you three come on over here and we'll take some pictures? Well, that was wonderful. That's the best part of our job, I think. And now I ask Tony Limoges, Associate Superintendent, Human Resources, to join us in introducing Courtney Doyland, Assistant Principal, Rocklin High School.
Well, thank you, President Hupp. Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Stock, Ms. Georgia. I get the pleasure of keeping the Love Fest going on at Rocklin Unified. It is that time of year, and we are bringing aboard a bunch of amazing new leadership. And so tonight I have the pleasure to introduce and tell you a little bit about Courtney Doyland. So come on down, Courtney. So Courtney was approved by the board as assistant principal of Rocklin High School at the May 6th board meeting and is being presented to you this evening. So let me tell you a little bit. She has an extensive experience in education and a really strong background in leadership and instructional roles. She has been served as assistant principal at Placer High School. She previously served as district coordinator of curriculum and instruction English learner programs for the Placer Union School District. She's also been a teacher at Colfax High and in Clovis Unified, primarily in the social studies area, social science area. You know, she had an amazing interview. I can speak for being sitting in there. I think she's a breath of fresh air and super intelligent, will be a great member of that team, and just keep the good work that Principal Pappas has been going on with your team. So I introduce to you Courtney Doyland.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Superintendent Stock. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I want to begin with a thank you to you, Tony, for that gracious and kind warm welcome. Rocklin Unified is truly a model district. Rocklin High School has earned the title as a California Distinguished School, and I'm thrilled for the opportunity to work with its students, staff, and community in advancing this work. Thank you, Principal Pappas, the administrative team, district leadership,
and the board for this opportunity. I'm excited to work with our community, our students, and learn and grow with you. Thank you. I look forward to getting to work.
Well, we are very excited to have you. Welcome to Rocklin. Absolutely, please do. And Tony, please continue by introducing Beth Casey, Associate Superintendent, Educational Services.
Thank you, President Hupp. It is my pleasure this evening to introduce to the board a face that you know, Elizabeth Casey, the new Associate Superintendent of Educational Services. Come on up, Beth. So Ms. Casey, formerly Miss Davidson, so you have to remember Casey like At the Bat or My Favorite and the Sunshine Band, brings a wealth of experiences. She knew I was going to say that. She's like, you do dumb thing all the time, Tony. That's what she's thinking right now. Ms. Casey brings a wealth of experience and a proven track record of educational leadership, having served our district in multiple levels as the Director of Academic Improvement and Multi-Tiered Systems of Support, Assistant Director of Special Education, a middle school school principal at Springview, Assistant Principal at Springview, was also a well-noted mathematics teacher and a track and field coach. She has led district-wide efforts, and as you've seen, there's been many presentations about all the math work that we've done in improving student achievement. She also serves as an administrative coach, so she's actually coaching the next generation of leaders with the Placer County office, and it's truly a pleasure, and I'm really excited. She's been Axon Region 2 Administrator of the Year. You have a lot of awards. That's pretty cool. My list is not nearly this long. Axel Placer Administrator of the Year for middle grades. It's a pleasure to introduce to you Beth Casey.
Good evening, President Hupp, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Stock. It is truly a privilege and honor to continue to serve Rocklin Unified students, families, and staff, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Beth, you could not be more deserving. I mean, we are so excited to have you in this role. We know you are a shining star, and you are going to do so great with this new job description. Thank you.
Can you tell us who Clark is? Can you tell us, share your exciting news? We're so excited for you personally, of course, but there's a reason why her name changed, you guys. We have to talk about it.
Yeah, the reason for the name change.
Yeah.
I recently got married to my husband, Clark.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, good. Yeah, we can see him. Okay. I had to get my eyes on him.
Right?
Okay.
He loves the spotlight.
Good. Well, thank you. That was important that I made eye contact with him. He looks like a nice guy, so we're so excited for you. But we're really excited also for you professionally because you're an impressive part of our team, and we're just so grateful to have you, so thank you.
And we think it would be awesome if Clark wanted to come up and take a picture with you in front of the wall.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and now I know you've all been waiting for this announcement, and we want to thank you and your families for joining us. And while you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting, now is a good time to sneak out that back door. Thank you all again for coming and supporting your loved ones. So Liz, that was my gift to you to clear the room, because now it's your turn. Come on up.
Thank you. Good evening, President Hupp, members of the board, and Superintendent Stock. I'm coming with a very sensitive heart today because I think today has hit the weight of my role. And I love our classified staff so much. Thank you. It's been an absolute honor to work for them and be their servant and be their voice and help them feel seen in the district. As we wrap up this academic year, I'm thrilled to celebrate the massive milestones that have happened with transportation, getting our students to school every day safely, and with love and patience because I can just imagine what it's like to be on a loud bus all the time and drive them safely home and safely to school every day. For our nutrition service, they're like heroes. They provide meals to our children every single day that are prepared with love and thoughtfulness and trying to follow within the guidelines of state regulations and all the things and still be able to provide that great meal with a smile to our special education aides and their tireless efforts of coming in every day and knowing they need to scrap whatever happened the day before and come with a new lens and be able to work with our most precious ones that are with us and our office staff and the calls and the counseling that they give to families that feel like maybe we'll be able to go into the school that they live next to, maybe not, but like being able to be that first line of hope and support and counseling that everything's going to work out. I can't also forget our 12-month employees. During the summer when the rest of us get to go home and enjoy the few weeks, we have our technology department that's still going to come in, revamp computers, update them, work on networks, and do all those things, are tirelessly working forever maintenance and operations, who's there checking HVACs and cleaning and making sure the schools look beautiful for fall to hit, and all the tireless hours that they do of planning and making sure that we don't see the dust when we get back. So I appreciate them all, and I appreciate the work that we're doing with them and how I have to be their champion and their advocate always. And I take that role very seriously, and I'm always trying to be in their corner and hear them. I like to think, again, the 100% effort that they give, and they show us a great example of what it is to be servants to our students and our families and our community. So it's been quite an honor this year, and to be able to report the things that are happening where our executive board is working together and making things happen, and we really appreciate the efforts that we've done this past year to make things happen smoothly and have negotiations go great and with respect. And so thank you. That's all I've got.
Elizabeth, it has been our honor to work with you, and you have been such a champion for the classified staff. I don't know that they could do better. You have done such a great job talking about them every month and bringing their issues to the forefront, and just really, I have loved it. I have loved hearing about what is happening out there at so many different levels and in so many different job titles. Really, I don't think they could have done better. And it has been, I look forward to your reports every month. They're a highlight.
Thank you.
If I could just say, I loved even tonight the way that you presented your report. I wanted to count how many times you said serving because I thought it was so beautiful. That I really believe you do this because you genuinely care. You genuinely care about the individuals that you represent, not only in this capacity, but also just your day-to-day capacity of caring about the students and the families of the district. And I think that's very clear of the people you represent. I think you're not the only one. I think we have incredible staff out there that they do what they do because they simply want to serve our community and serve our community well. And so I just wanted to say I appreciate your intentionality of highlighting that, of role modeling that, but also being effective. Of being really effective at building relationship, of really communicating clearly what is needed for your members and making sure that what is needed for your members is received, but doing so in such a way where we're able to come together to serve our communities together. And so I just wanted to appreciate you for that. I think what a beautiful way that you closed out the school year in the way that you represented yourself serving to your membership when many of your members, they're actually serving our district every day. And so I just want to say thank you and share my appreciation for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now to comments and report from our awesome student board representative. Lucas, will you please share your report?
Of course. Thank you. I'm happy to provide the final student report of the year, highlighting recent events and activities taking place in our schools across the district. All right, let's get to it. Sunset Ranch was thrilled to unveil their new school mural that was painted by their talented VAPA teacher, Mrs. Abayaski. They also just had their end-of-year PBIS event where students could turn in their golden positives they earned for many awesome prizes. Twin Oaks has an exciting end to the school year ahead. Yesterday, their third graders traveled back in time during their visit to the Bernhard Museum, while their second graders had been hard at work preparing to present their play, Character Matters. This Friday, they are excited to welcome back their graduating seniors for a special celebration, and Timberwolves will also enjoy a beach spirit day as they get ready for summer. Next Wednesday, students will participate in their school-wide field day, and they will close out the year with their TK and 6th grade promotion ceremonies on the last day of school. Rock Creek is thrilled to celebrate the end of another successful school year. They have wrapped up state testing and are looking forward to celebrating this accomplishment later this week and love celebrating all the learning and growth over the year at Open House. Additionally, they honor their Site Employees of the Year, Courtney Sequenzia, as well as their teacher who makes a difference, Lori Worth, for their accomplishments and support of student learning. Finally, they look forward to celebrating their amazing families and volunteers at their volunteer brunch tomorrow morning. Breen Elementary will be honoring their seniors that attend Breen this Friday at a special senior breakfast. The students that come back and see their elementary school, including their past teachers and the entire school, comes out to do a clap out at the end. So all the students will do like a clap out thing that I guess is a tradition there. They also have a school-wide barbecue for families on Friday where families come to eat with their children to celebrate the end of the school year. As the year draws near, lots of fun educational activities are occurring at Cobblestone, including the 4th through 6th grade science fair and the 5th grade reenactment of the American Revolution, and the performance by the kindergartners of the Three Piggy Opera. Corey Trail is looking forward to honoring their 4th class promoting from 6th grade. The end of the year brings celebrations of all the hard work the Broncos community has collectively provided to help all students thrive. At Sierra Elementary, they're hosting their 6th grade IB exhibition tomorrow. This event showcases the culmination of their 6th grade students' 7 years in the International Baccalaureate Primary Years program. Students' teams will express their ideas and learning in exploring the United Nations goals for sustainable development through visual and performing arts. They hope you will join us for this very special event. Many thanks to their 6th grade teachers, staff mentors, students, and IB coordinators for all their work to make this happen. As Rocklin Elementary wraps up another incredible year, they are looking forward to several exciting end-of-year activities that celebrate their students and school community. One of their most meaningful traditions is their senior celebration, where graduating seniors return to their elementary school in a cap and gown to reconnect with former teachers and inspire their current students. They are also excited for their annual staff for 6th grade kickball game, 6th grade promotion ceremony, and many more memorable events planned to close out the year. At Valley View, they're wrapping up the school year by celebrating their students' academic and personal growth. They recently welcomed their families on campus for their annual open house and spring music concerts, which highlighted their students' hard work and progress. Their students are currently completing their end-of-year assessments, showing the positive impact of their targeted learning strategies, while also participating in field trips that extend classroom learning into the community. Parker Whitney has had an exciting few weeks filled with learning and celebration. Their 4th graders traveled to Caloma, and their 3rd graders visited the Bernhard Museum to connect with local California history. Students also participated in an incredible spring concert featuring strings, horns, and voice, showcasing their talent and hard work. They recently hosted a well-attended open house celebrating student learning across campus. As they head into summer, Parker Whitney is preparing for several campus improvements, including the entire school being painted, HVAC upgrades, and blacktop resealing and stripping. Moving on to the middle school, Springview hosted their first People's Choice Awards. This special ceremony occurred last Thursday evening. Both classified and certificated staff acknowledged a student based on showing accountability, integrity, and mindfulness. It was a special event for all in attendance. And then moving on to our high schools, Rocklin High School would like to give a huge thank you to all of their students, staff, parents, and community members who have made the 2025-2026 school year a great one. They would also like to congratulate their graduating class of 2026 and will be honoring them next Friday at 7:30 p.m. at their graduation. And finally, Whitney High School has had an eventful end of the year. Like that was mentioned earlier, the softball team became section champions, the girls softball team, and in April, the leadership program at Whitney High School was awarded the Outstanding Leadership Program Award at the California Association of Student Leaders Conference. And for those that don't know what that is, basically in order to be recognized, the ASB officers submitted a 15-page self-study report where the team reflected on the program's goals, current activities, and events for the school. So congratulations to Whitney leadership. The school is also in the middle of the end of the year Spirit Week, which is dedicated to the seniors. The theme for the week is Cars, Radiator Springs, a tribute to the seniors' final race. The week is filled with lunchtime activities, morning giveaways, dress-up days, and will conclude at the end of year rally on Friday. Congratulations to the class of 2026. They will be missed, but good luck with all future endeavors. Their graduation is June 4th at 7:30 p.m. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Good job, Lucas. Such a good job. And you're off to Cal Berkeley, huh? Yeah. All right. Have you already told us what your major's going to be? Engineering and physics, or engineering physics. Does that goes together? Okay. Wow. What are you going to do with that?
Some tech job.
Nice. Well, we hope you come back and visit because you're going off to bigger and brighter things, but that's what we do when we leave Rocklin, right? All right. Well, we were very lucky to have you on our board. We were very blessed, and we appreciate you very much. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
All right. Trustees, do you have some comments you would like to share tonight?
I can go first. I just want to say that Lucas, you are the whole package. You are smart and talented, and I see your mom shedding a tear over there as you're reading your last report, and I feel that. But the thing that I admire the very most is Lucas smiles when he talks, and you can hear it, and I love it so much. It's so good, so important. So just excited for you. Got a bright future. Enjoyed sitting here next to you. So just really wanted to say we are so grateful to have the best in Rocklin. We have amazing families, amazing students, amazing staff, and as board members, we get to work most closely with district employees, and I'm not sure if you guys get enough of a shout out, so thank you. I am on the phone several times a week with Superintendent Stock. I work individually with each of you, and you guys are so helpful and so there when we need anything, and it means a lot. And I know that a lot of our students and families don't see the hard work and the dedication and the concern that you have for students and for staff and their experience as our employees. And so I just want to give you that public appreciation. And just excited. It's already the end of the school year and so much to celebrate and be proud of this year. And I hope our teachers get a break and to put their feet up a little bit and a good summer.
Lucas, great job. Final report ended strong. And hey, there is no shame and highlighting the great work of your own school. So I love that. I think that's a great skill. Confidence is a good thing. So thank you for the great work that you've done at Whitney. And I have to say, the cars, my little 2-year-old would actually love coming by and seeing some of those decorations on campus. So we're big Cars fans here, but I appreciated the report, the update, and cannot believe it is already the end of the year. That is just, wow, that went by fast. But thank you for sitting up on the stairs and for always giving us an update on our campuses. It's really great and really important for us to hear those updates, so thank you. Just a couple things, trustees. It was great to be able to attend our Placer County Awards Night. Placer County Office of Education recognizes teachers and staff throughout Placer County for some of their incredible work. They have categories such as Teacher of the Year, Nutrition Services, Transportation. And I have to tell you, I was impressed. I mean, I don't know that I was keeping tally, but I continued to hear Rocklin Unified mentioned, Whitney High, Rocklin High, teachers, staff up for nominations. And it was just a joy to be able to be there that night and see really Rocklin Unified dominate in Placer County. So just a shout out to all of our teachers and staff that were nominated and a part of that process. That was just a really great opportunity to get to highlight a lot of their great work and to see them be recognized outside of our district, countywide at the awards night. Additionally, it was really great. Open houses, I just love. I think it is just a wonderful time of year. We get to see our community all out together. I tried to get out and pop around to a few different campuses, and I ended up having a really incredible time on Antelope Creek campus. And I have to tell you, Principal R. Curry caught me. I was trying to hide and just sneak around right at the end there amidst all the other commitments I had. And he ended up giving me a guided tour around, and just to see the teachers and their classrooms and the Spark the Arts, what they have done. I was so impressed. I even took a picture on all of the classroom doors. If you haven't been recently, I was going to read it, but it's a little long, but basically says, prepare yourself. When you walk into these classrooms, we are being intentional. We might be messy, we might be loud, but it's because we're learning hands-on. And I just thought how beautiful that was, just to actually get to see that a little bit in action, to see the parents out on the streets with their aprons they were wearing and their little pizza ovens that they were taking as they walked home. I just thought it was just a really beautiful night to showcase, that night specifically, our elementary schools. But I just, again, wanted to do a shout out to Antelope Creek. Jill Thorndike was there, and she was kind of showing me really the work that they've done with Spark the Arts to integrate arts to unlock the brain for some students that have struggled with math. You know, I have 4 kids. I have some that just naturally gravitate towards math, and I have some that don't. And it's beautiful to see what they're doing at Antelope Creek to really utilize art to try to unlock parts of the brain to really help them understand some complex math problems. And so I took some great photos that night. I won't bore you with all of them tonight, but what they're doing over there is really special, and I'm really excited to see this new focus too on writing, incorporating writing with their art, and to see what comes of that with some of our test results in the future. I'm really excited about that. And then also just wanted to highlight Sierra IB has their showcase coming up actually tomorrow. And I just think this is just another important time for our trustees, for us to highlight some of the specialty programs that our district has. It's what really sets us apart. I don't know about you, that this is the time of year I hear from realtors as we have families wanting to move into Rocklin, and these families are asking about our schools. Tell us about our schools. Tell us what sets Rocklin apart. And I love that the first thing I get to talk about is the specialty programs that we have, that we provide choice for families in our district, and that we are constantly doing something new, that we set that as a priority as a board. And so I'm excited to see what's to come. And again, sounds like we got lots of people wanting to move into Rocklin. So that's because of the incredible schools and the great work of all of our teams. So thank you.
Okay, yes, there's a lot going on. Lucas, great job. I feel like you took everything good that's going on, but it's okay. I'll dig deep. I can find more. So one thing I did want to mention, as there's a lot going on, but since we last met, we did have the 30th annual employee recognition event. We got to recognize our retiring teachers and staff and just thank them and appreciate them. And it's always a really positive, fun event, but I felt like this time the school sites really get into it, and they have their pom-poms and their noisemakers, and then we got to recognize the site kind of recipient of recognition as well. So it was super fun. We had our elementary band and choir performances. It was 2 nights, so 3 schools got to go on each night at Whitney High School, and it's so fun to get them all together. They've all been working on these pieces. They get to see their friends from other schools, and it just requires a level of coordination that I really appreciate that these teachers are putting in to make it such a special event. Middle schools had the performances. Springview did their first ever art and music exhibition kind of at the same time. And then with the People's Choice Awards, I was talking to a couple of the teachers about it, and they were so excited because it's an opportunity to recognize students that maybe aren't getting recognized because they're 4.0 student or the star athlete, not that they can't be, but they're really able to find these students that have made an impact on them, have made an impact on their fellow students and on their campus, and so it just sounded amazing. For those of you who are here, I think it sounds like these pieces are going to be posted somewhere in the district, maybe in the office, but we have all of the artwork and the essays from our 250th anniversary of our country, and we had the students here earlier with their families. Just super impressive, amazing work, even for some really young students who decided to participate. So I encourage, I think it sounds like they're going to be distributed somehow for everyone to be able to view, so I look forward to that. To the open house piece, thank you to the teachers. I feel like this time of year, it's just a lot of thank yous as everything's kind of coming to a close, a culmination of everything that's been worked on. What I always love about the open houses is you get to go in, and at the different grade levels, yes, you see what they've been working on as far as curriculum, but the teachers always make a point to have the students do some art or some poetry or some work that reflects them as a person. And I will say my husband may have shed a little tear at one point reading something, but I just really love that because it shows us a side of our kids that maybe we don't always see. It's always fun to kind of hear what the teachers and staff who spend day in and day out with our kids think about them. And so that was really wonderful. Wanted to give a thank you to our elementary school teachers across the district who have been mentoring our child development high school students. I know it's a lot of work. I hope that, it's fun and they get something out of it. It helps to support our CTE pathway for child development, and I know it's giving our students an experience that you can't learn in a textbook, or by reading something. So I'm very appreciative as those students are finishing up their projects for the year. And otherwise, looking forward to checking out Sierra Elementary and just super excited for all of our graduates that are going to be celebrating next week. Oh, and also Liz, thank you just for pouring your heart into this position. I know when we had talked before you even took on the role, it was just clear that you had this understanding of the responsibility and the job that it is, but the importance of it as well. And like the others said, you just really embody that role, and I'm so happy that we have you to share with us.
Good deal. Again, all of it's been said, so we'll be quick. Good job down there. Excellent work. Thank you, thank you. And again, and Michelle is 100%. Every time you talk to him, whether you're on campus or off, he smiles when he talks. So it's a skill. Great job, Mom. I don't know how you did it, but that was good. Whitney Girls Softball, good job. Congratulations to them. The PCOE Placer County Office of Education Award winners, and an amazing thing, as Trustee Sadoff said, it's just neat when you're sitting in the audience and you hear Rocklin Unified, Rocklin Unified, Rocklin Unified. So very good. Thank you to them and congratulations. The retirees, that seeing people, seeing the smiles, just seeing the people that have either taught your kids, been around your kids, and going through the district, and it's like, oh my gosh, you remember them from distant, and they're there. So that was great. Thank you to them, and thank you to all their work, and congratulations on being a retiree, I guess. Even though I know Roger, if we ever need people, I look at you because they always end up calling Marty, and they're like, Marty, it's the hair.
Great, I understand.
And then living in the neighborhood, the wall mural at Sunset Ranch is amazing. Walked over there and saw it, and just blew my mind. I saw it on Facebook, and it's around the corner. You went over there, and it's so, again, really, really, really cool to see that in the neighborhood. Sierra IB events tomorrow. We'll be there, and then looking forward to all the promotions and graduations and all the fun that happens next week.
All right. Most things have been said. I just want to say to all of our staff, thank you for finishing strong. Thank you for a great year. I also want to acknowledge that there are 12-month employees, as Liz said, who don't necessarily get much of a break. And I want to thank them as well for all that they do to prepare our schools for the next school year, so that we can come back and feel so fresh and new, like those new shoes and those new clothes and that new backpack. We also have our new campuses that have been taken care of and prepared for us. So thank you so much to all that are doing that and that have worked so hard this year. And I feel impressed to point out, because a lot of times people say to teachers especially, but classified staff as well, oh, you're so lucky you get the summer off. I wish I had that kind of a break, which is true, and it's wonderful, and it is well earned. But also I think people don't realize it's unpaid. So yes, it is a nice break, but it is an unpaid break. So just so people know, teachers aren't lounging on taxpayer dollars. They are usually working hard to prepare for the next year and recovering from the previous year. So I just wanted to say thank you and great job. And our district did so well this year everywhere. And now, Superintendent Stock, do you have some comments you'd like to share?
I do. Just as I look forward to the graduations, this is the special class for me because when Lucas's class started in kindergarten, that was my first year. So for me, this 13th year, this is like the first group that we've gone all the way through together. So I'm real excited to celebrate the class of 2026 next week. And then all the hard work that goes into making the graduations, promotions so special. Everybody just digs deep, pulls that out, whether it's our principals or our maintenance and custodial crews to make everything just perfect. So just really appreciate the extra effort that goes in. And we stream those ceremonies to make sure family and friends far and near can see those, and just excited about that. And if you can't get excited about next week, then you shouldn't be in education. And so we also just acknowledge that we have so much, the incredible work that goes in, because that 10 weeks that we're closed, it goes fast. And to have everything done so quickly and incredibly, and we have a lot of exciting projects that really are needed in our really aged facilities, such as some HVAC replacement. We have some portables that are being replaced thanks to the board's wise decision to carefully look at our fiscal situation, but it really makes it hard on our maintenance and crews to do all that because of just the need that's there. And so they do an incredible job, and we appreciate them and all the others that do that. And so just deeply appreciative of that. And then the 250th celebration allude to, really want to thank Chief Dosanjh for organizing that as our and to really give our students to showcase their talent with us, and just really, again, incredibly grateful to all that have made, really, as you all have said, such a successful year for our students and our families.
All right, thank you everyone for your comments. We'll now move on to the consent calendar. As a reminder, all matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine and will be enacted by one motion followed by a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the Board of Trustees requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. Any items removed will be voted on following the motion to approve the consent calendar. Does any trustee wish to remove an item from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action?
I'd like to remove 8:15.
Okay, so trustee Sadoff requested to remove consent item 815 for separate discussion and action. Is there a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Okay, first by trustee Price,
Second.
second by trustee Counter. Georgia, will you please call the roll?
Lucas Marquardt,
Yes.
Rochelle Price,
Yes.
Tiffany Sadoff,
Yes.
Michelle Sutherland,
Yes.
Derek Counter,
Yes.
Julie Hupp.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. So trustee Sadoff, would you like to speak to item 815?
Yes, thank you. I'm pulling this for good reason. When an item's on consent, we can only speak about it if we pull the item. And so I wanted to pull the item. This is our contract that we have with the city and RPD, specifically regarding our SROs, our school resource officers. And I just felt like it's really appropriate to highlight the great work that we have with them, our great relationship that we have, and just take a moment to appreciate both RPD, Rocklin Police Department, and the City of Rocklin for the joint work on making sure that we have these individuals that are trained not only in the great work that they do, but they work really hard to create an atmosphere on our campuses that's very positive. And so I just wanted to take a moment because I thought it was incredibly special at our recent recognitions. Springview staff actually named their Site Employee of the Year. They awarded School Resource Officer Jesse Irvin the award of their Middle School Site Employee of the Year. And I just thought, how wonderful is that? I haven't seen that done before. And I just felt like that deserved a little extra attention tonight, not only just to call that out, but just to call out our SRO program in general. I think it's a really important program. And the more that we can do to support them on our campuses, the more that we can do to support this program. They have my full support. And so I just wanted to take a moment to highlight that. In light of that, I do motion to approve. This item is actually extending their contract. I'm happy to extend the contract so we can continue to have them on our campuses. And again, just wanted to show my support. So I do motion to approve item 815.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so first by trustee Sadoff, second by trustee Counter. Georgia, will you please call the roll?
Lucas Marquardt,
Yes.
Rochelle Price,
Yes.
Tiffany Sadoff,
Yes.
Michelle Sutherland,
Yes.
Derek Counter,
Yes.
Julie Hupp.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, trustee Sadoff, for calling that out. Okay, we will now hold a public hearing for RUSD 2026-27 Local Control and Accountability Plan. Beth Casey, Associate Superintendent, Educational Services, will now join us to present the RUSD 2026-27 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, and we will follow with a public hearing.
Good evening again. President Hupp, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Stock. Tonight, I have the honor of picking up where Ed Services staff left off in April, and I'm here to present the 2026-27 Local Control and Accountability Plan for public hearing. During tonight's presentation, we will review the educational partner input and overarching themes in the plan, review the draft plan, and discuss next steps. The three-year LCAP was developed and has been revised annually based on engagement and input from our educational partners. That has included meeting with students, staff, families, trustees, and our county SELPA. Our educational partners identified 4 main themes, and these remain unchanged from this year's plan moving into next year for 26-27. Those themes include mathematics achievement and growth, social, emotional, and behavioral supports and services, focus, cohesion, and communication, as well as student connectedness and school culture. In the draft plan, you will see that the district anticipates receiving roughly $7.2 million in revenue for LCFF supplemental funds for next school year. Additionally, we are carrying over approximately $450,000. This carryover is a result of lower than anticipated spending related to several actions. Those carryover funds will be reinvested in our 26-27 plan, bringing our total projected expenditures aligned to each action to a total of $8.1 million. You can see how the total distribution aligns between our 3 goal areas, including approximately $1.2 million for Goal 1 around math improvement, $2.4 million for social, emotional, and behavioral supports, and approximately $4.5 million for Goal 3. Other funding sources are incorporated into our local control and accountability plan. Our district prioritizes sharing our budget with the community, including all of our educational partners who participated in the plan's development. Inside the LCAP document, as well as in the expenditures tables, you can see a detailed account of how we are looking to invest all funds by action. Also included and required to be presented alongside the LCAP are the local indicators. These will be published on the California School Dashboard in fall 2026. We anticipate the dashboard will be released in October. The local indicators that are included address state priority areas that don't have state indicators attached to them, such as chronic absenteeism, suspension rates, or math and English language arts achievement on the state assessment. Our specific local indicators require that we write our own narratives and use state-provided rubrics and tools to evaluate ourselves in these areas. You can see a summary of our performance on all local indicators in attachments A and B. I will also bring these local indicators and present them alongside the LCAP in June. Our draft goals for next school year remain unchanged from current year. Goal 1 will focus on math achievement and growth for all students, with a particular focus on some of our student groups, including socioeconomically disadvantaged, students with disabilities, and our English learner students. Goal 2 remains focused on social, emotional, mental health, and behavioral supports. And Goal 3 will maintain, monitor, and enhance existing programs. We will continue to focus in the areas of early literacy, attendance, and serving our students with unique learning needs, including English learners and students with disabilities. In addition, this year we have added college and career readiness as a focus area, which we will continue exploring and updating the board in the fall. The next 2 slides represent how the $8.1 million in supplemental expenditures we reviewed earlier are distributed by action. Just to highlight a few, you can see that our district will continue to invest in academic support related to multi-tiered systems of support and math improvement with approximately $700,000. When looking at the expenditure tables, it's important to note that you may notice those numbers are slightly higher than you see here in these dollar amounts. That is because the 2 slides here only represent supplemental funds. We are using many sources of funding, including general fund and federal funds, to contribute to our actions within the LCAP. In Goal 2, you can see a strong continued commitment to our school counseling program, as well as Tier 1 programs, including PBIS, positive behavioral interventions and supports, and breaking down the walls. In Goal 3, we have a strong continued commitment to our English learner supports, as this is our fastest growing population with over $1.5 million. We are continuing to increase and improve services for our students, including socioeconomically disadvantaged students, foster youth, and English learners. Ms. Anderson reviewed each of these increased and improved services in greater detail earlier in the month of April, and they remain unchanged. Just to highlight a few, we will continue to offer designated and integrated English language development. We will also continue to provide priority access to all of our intervention programs for our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, English learners, and students living in homelessness. Additionally, we will provide case management to our highest needs families. Lastly, next steps related to the LCAP development will be to provide ongoing responses to our educational partner feedback, present the 2026-2027 LCAP budget for board action on June 10th, and submit to the Placer County Office of Education. Additionally, we will communicate our plan with Rocklin Unified families and committees that were included in the LCAP process and continue our implementation and monitoring to determine impact and provide regular updates to trustees. At this time, Educational Services staff request trustees hold a public hearing regarding the draft 26-27 RUSD LCAP and authorize staff to make necessary technical corrections that do not change the intent or represent a substantial change to program content.
All right, thank you, Associate Superintendent Casey. Are there any board comments or questions?
You hit on it, but I just wanted to do a call out because in one of the attachments, let's see, it looked like in the attachment local control accountability plan, page 9, it called out for the 25-26 school year, what some of our partners were telling us were some of our areas of greatest need. And I do see them lumped into our third goal, but I just really want to call those out: the early literacy phonics, also the college and career readiness. My hope is, as we're kind of going through this, that we move beyond maintaining in those areas. I know we added in the word, I believe, enhance. I saw in there. I'd love to see those start to take a little bit more of a priority, or at least really in these conversations that you're having in the LCAP meetings, really dive a little deeper into that. I think we've done incredible work with math improvement. Definitely, we continue to celebrate that. Our data shows we're seeing great improvement there. I'm really hoping we can put even more of an emphasis on this early literacy and this college and career readiness. I continue to see it in multiple spots, and so I thank you that it's called out in the third goal, but there's a lot in that third goal, and so I'd love to, at least for me, I see that be a little bit more of a priority within that third goal.
I definitely agree, actually. I'm very excited to see that in there. Any other comments or questions?
No, I agree, and I think that's something that we've kind of touched on as we've gone through this process is, you know, after the heavy focus on math, how do you continue to maintain and get continued growth while also being able to move to focus on other things as well? And I know we've talked about literacy and math do, you know, have some overlap in terms of learning and being able to be successful in math because of literacy as well, so I agree. One thing I was wanting to ask you, so in here it showed for the 25-26 school year, the budgeted amount and the actual amount, and so it actually came in less than the budgeted amount. And I can't recall if that's something that's typical that we see, and if so, is it something where we would want to have other plans if the resources are available to be able to continue to work on these, maybe with some other resources as well?
Absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
Great question. It is typical that we plan as best we can, knowing that it won't be 100% accurate in terms of how every dollar is spent, because some of it might be sub-costs if we're running professional development. So sometimes an action item, the actual expenditure will come in lower than our estimated amount. But the good news is, as you mentioned, that is carryover so that we can reallocate those funds into specific actions for the upcoming school year.
Okay, thank you.
We will also be in a rewrite year, so we're in our last year of the current LCAPs. It's a wonderful opportunity to take some of those focus areas in Goal 3 and reprioritize to a new Goal 1 or Goal 2.
Yep. I'll be interested to see how the community members that come in voice their opinions on the changes. I think it's an exciting time to have that new cycle start.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all of your work.
All right, I will now open a public hearing for the Local Control and Accountability Plan. Do we have any comments, questions? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. And this item will be brought back for action at the next board meeting on June 10th. Next, we asked Jennifer Stahlheber, Deputy Superintendent, Business and Operations, to present the 26-27 district budget and annual certification for workers' compensation claims, and we will follow that with another public hearing.
Good evening, President Hupp, Trustee, Superintendent Stock, and members of the public. Thank you for the opportunity to present the 2026-27 Adopted Budget Report for Rocklin Unified. Tonight's presentation provides an overview of the district's revenues and expenditure projections for the upcoming fiscal year, along with our multi-year projection and fund summaries. I want to note at the outset that the 26-27 adopted budget was prepared prior to the release of the governor's May revision on May 14th. So we will present a 45-day revision in August 2026 to reflect the final state budget once it's adopted. However, the May revision represents a significantly improved funding picture compared to the January budget, and will highlight those key developments in some of the areas that we discussed this evening. So this slide shows where we are in the annual budget and LCAP cycle. We are currently at the adopted budget LCAP stage for 2026-27. The budget calendar is an important touchstone for all of us. Each step in the cycle is interconnected. Our adopted budget assumptions will inform our first interim report later this fall, and we will continue to refine projections as the state finalizes its budget. Following adoption tonight of the public hearing, the formal adoption vote is scheduled for June 10th board meeting. The district's ability to plan across this full cycle is a strength. It allows us to be proactive rather than reactive in our final decision making. Turning to revenues, our total projected revenues for 26-27 are $190,767,150, representing an increase of almost $6.5 million, or approximately 3.5 over 25-26 estimated actuals. Some of the key revenue drivers, we saw our LCFF, our local control funding formula revenues, increase by just over $4 million. This reflects an application of an increased COLA. Originally, we had in the January proposal a 2.41, and when the final numbers that calculate the COLA, it came in at 2.87. Since then, in the May revision, the governor has proposed an additional funding for a new state mandate for pregnancy disability leave, but it would only be applied to the base and would not be applied to all of the grade span and supplemental adjustments. That could still change, though, in the final adoption in June. So we'll be keeping our eyes out for that, and we'll revisit that in the in the 45-day revise. Our federal revenues decreased by $194,426, primarily due to reductions in Title I, Title II, and Title III allocations based on updated federal program estimates. Our other state revenues increased by almost $1.8 million, driven by one-time state grants, higher extended learning opportunity program per pupil funding. As part of the May revise and in the original January budget, we saw that the governor proposed providing a minimum guarantee for Tier 2. In the past, we've seen fluctuations as we saw more districts qualify for Tier 1 and for an increased rate for Tier 1. That resulted in a decrease for Tier 2. So it was really good news to hear in the budget that they're proposing at least a minimum, which was part of this increase that we're experiencing. We also have some other state revenues that would be one-time in nature that are proposed in the budget, and those have also been increased in the May revise, and we're still waiting final information. Right now, there's been 3 different figures proposed by some of the sources that we look to, like School Services of California, the Legislative Analyst's Office, and the Department of Finance. And so we're anticipating we'll have a final number in June to bring forth when we do the 45-day revision, not on June 10th. And then our other local revenue, we saw an increase of $832,000. Other local resources increase mainly driven by the special education rate that we saw a proposed increase in the January. And in the May revise, the governor proposed an even further increase to that, which is not included. But a bulk of that comes through as other local when we receive it from the county office. And so that's a large driver of the increase that you're seeing in this. We also had some small increases related to interest earnings because we're still seeing the countywide pool perform very well. And again, these were all prepared prior to the May revise. This chart illustrates the composition of our revenue. As always, LCFF remains the dominant revenue source, representing 76% of our total revenues. And with that high reliance on LCFF, it means that changes in state funding, whether through COLA adjustments, ADA fluctuations, or policy shifts, have an outsized impact on our budget. This reinforces the importance of conservative multi-year planning. Our other state revenues represent 13.47%, and that's second largest category. Much of this is categorical and restricted in its use, which is important context when considering available unrestricted resources. Our other local revenue at 8.73 includes those interest earning, facility use fees, local grants. It's shown growth in recent years and reflects the district's active management of local resources. And then our smallest category is the federal revenue at 1.79. We're hoping to see in the federal budget that there's going to be dedicated funds to special ed. They're conducting a study that hopefully results within the next couple of years increased funding to meet the federal mandate for Individuals Disability Education Act, IDEA. So now we're turning to expenditures. Our total projected expenditures for 26-27 are just over $192.5 million, a decrease of 1.36 compared to our 25-26 estimated actuals. So while our revenues were increasing, expenditures slightly declined. A key part of that are the one-time expenditures that we had budgeted in 25-26. If you recall, the board approved one-time expenditures for facility improvements for our sites, also allocating some safety funds. And so that artificially increased our expenditures in the 25-26 budget, as we have only a small portion budgeted in the 26-27. Other key expenditure changes, our certificated salaries decreased $439,000. This decrease is a result of staffing adjustments due to declining enrollment. It does include step and column advancements, but it also includes savings from our early retirement program. So we had quite a few participating members, which was a great benefit to the budget. We realized almost a $2 million savings in current projections, and the payment to run that program for the next 5 years, which you'll see reflected in the benefits increase, is approximately $730,000. So the net over the next 5 years will start at like the 1.2 something and then slowly decrease as we see people move through step and column. Our classified salaries increased by just over $500,000, driven by step and column and staffing additions to support some district programs. Our benefits increased 3.1. The largest driver for this is that we had some settlements that included increases to health and welfare contribution rates, which is great because we saw significant increases in our health and welfare programs this year, which statewide many districts experienced, and was a lot of talk in the CBO listservs. We had a lot of folks reaching out, like, what is your JPA seeing? And we just saw that a lot of us are experiencing this increase. Some of the information that was shared is that they're seeing a lot more claims come in a category that creates this automatic increase. So when they develop rates, they have multiple levels of categories and ranges for which they weight the rate increases. And so they're seeing more claims develop at the rate, that mid-tier. And the high one, which usually gets thrown out, they're coming in just under that high tier. And we saw that in our program, and we heard from the health and welfare consultant that our JPA works with, that it's a statewide issue. They're also seeing a lot of it being driven by the GLP-1 usage, because that's very, they're just seeing a lot of use, but they're hoping to start seeing some offsets in future years by seeing decrease illnesses that are related to being overweight. So we're hoping to see some offsets in future years, but right now we're experiencing increases as a result of it. Our benefits also had some slight increases. We had a little bit of an increase in the PERS, but the good news is when we look out in those future years, we're starting to see PERS come back down. So, which is great news because it was climbing for years, and we felt like it was never going to stop. Our books and supplies are projected to decrease by 3.2, primarily because of several large one-time 25-26 expenditures that are not recurring, which included Chromebook replacements of over $1.5 million, safety and facility projects, which were approximately $624,000, and the expired kit grant, which was $280,000. We also had some carryover budget across programs such as our CTIG, which is our Career Technical Education Innovation Grant, and our Prop 28, which is our music and arts funds. These decreases are partially offset by some increases for a planned curriculum adoption, which is at 786, our projected estimate, and some supplemental site funds in the amount of 92,000, and then some carryover in the amount of 53,000. Services and operating expenditures are projected to decrease by 872. Key reductions include lower maintenance contract costs, reduced special education non-public agency cost. Again, we put that back in salaries at the beginning of every year, and then if we are unable to fill all those positions, that's when we start seeing contracts come in, and typically you just see it move from salary into the 5,000 line, which are services and other operating, if we're unable to fill them. Some of our other, we had some expiring grants, so the CYBHI, California Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, it's a big one, capacity, and then our educator effectiveness also expired. These are partially offset by increases in our supplemental activity, which Mrs. Casey spoke to in our previous presentation. We have some planned facility upgrades that also were reduced in the amount of 254, and then we have some capital outlay decreases, approximately 382,000, and that was related to some of those one-time projects. Our capital outlay budget projected to decrease by 382, again, primarily due to the completion of the Whitney High Turf Field project, and then some reduced one-time facility spending of 920. Likely, we'll see some of those projects close out after June 30th, and they'll become a payable, and then you'll see them when we come back and talk about our unaudited actuals. Okay. So this is our expenditure pie chart, which shows our composition of all expenditures. You'll note that our salary and benefits equals 81.82, but if we were to remove all of those one-time expenditures related to the facility use, some one-time adoptions, we would actually be at 88.48 with those new settlements being in our new budget. So that was an increase for us. We usually hover around 85, maybe 86. So that's a significant amount, and it shows our dedication to our employees. Our certificated salaries equal just under 42%, which represent our single largest expense category, again, reflecting our investment in classroom instruction and student-facing certificated staff. Benefits come in at 24 and are significant and growing. The increase in health and welfare caps negotiated in 26-27 is a primary driver of the year-over-year benefit cost increase. But we know that that was very needed for our employees because we're seeing significant rate increases. Our classified salaries come in at 15.69, and they support our operations, our facilities, special education, and student services functions. So the rate for other services and operating expenses comes in at 11, just under 11, and we know those are utilities. So all utilities get lumped into this category. Our contracts for professional services go into this category. And then we have that remaining 6% of total expenditures are our books, supplies, capital outlay, other outgo, and transfers. And so you can see we put a lot of our budget into personnel. So this is our general fund summary, and the slide kind of shows you, are we living within our means? And you can see in 25-26, our estimated actuals, we show a deficit of 9.6. The bulk of that deficit, though, is planned. It is related to the one-time investment in our facilities, into the turf field project, and into some adoptions that occurred this year. And if you recall, we kind of do a 5-year plan where we look at adoptions of curriculum, and so we kind of save up to make big adoptions. So that is part of that deficit. So when it looks large, don't be alarmed, it was planned. In 26-27, you see it looks like it's 1.7. Again, we have over 1.5 of that is related to the one-time projects, finishing up those next year. And then we also have some curriculum adoption. The good news is, though, when we come back with our May revise, that number should look really healthy because we know we're going to have an infusion of one-time funds, and we're going to see whatever that final COLA is reflected in those new revenue projections. So our fund balance components, we always look at what do we have committed, what do we have assigned, and you can see we have a committed balance of just under 13 million at 12.9. This includes the board designated commitments for stabilization funds, includes technology, attendance mitigation, where we reflect that amount, but if we were at our pre-pandemic attendance rate of 96.5, that additional funding would be in our revenues. Our unrestricted and non-committed come in at 9.57, above our 3% minimum, reflecting a healthy available reserve balance. And then our reserve for economic uncertainty at 3% is 5.776, which is also the same as that stabilization amount that sits in the committed. Our unassigned fund balance is 12.384 and represents 6.43 of our total expenditures budgeted for 26-27. So we continue to demonstrate fiscal solvency across all 3 years of our MYP, and we're able to show that we can maintain our 3%. This slide shows some of those components we use or the assumptions we use for our multi-year projections. These are the planning factors we discussed earlier that we get from school services, Department of Finance, and the Legislative Analyst's Office. There's also local district assumptions that are used in there, such as our funded ADA rate and our 3-year rolling average for our unduplicated pupils, which provides those supplemental funds to provide increased services for those students with higher needs. And here's the slide with our MYP that then shows, again, those balances stay healthy. We do see some deficit spending in those out years, but we know that will change when we do our 45-day revision. So when we add it in the 26-27 year, we will see some of that carry through in those local control funding formula revenues, which are the bulk of our revenues. And so all 3 years will look improved and better. Also, with the increase in the one-time funds, we had very thoughtful discussions during negotiations to use those to mitigate some of the deficit. And so we were already going down that path, and so the extra infusion in one-time funds will actually increase our position when we come back at 45-day revise. And so you can see in all 3 years, we're still have an unassigned amount, we're still able to maintain the stabilization fund, and we're able to maintain the required reserve for economic uncertainty. So these are our other funds, and you can see we have a lot of activity in our capital facilities fund, and that is planned. That's part of that $58 million investment where we're replacing HVAC and lighting, portables, and so we know we have a big portable project coming in. We have another wave of HVAC, so you can see our net activity in Fund 25 is approximately 8.7. Again, our Fund 40, which is that special reserve for capital outlay, some of those funds come out of there, which are a result of CFDs, again, part of those portable projects, and that plan $58 million. All in a positive position, all very healthy. And again, you can see our cafeteria, Fund 13, is still, we see the revenues still outpacing our expenditures, which has really allowed us to start focusing on more fresh foods and ingredients, and which is also, we've been able to increase staff to allow us to be able to prepare fresh foods. So it's been a good thing, and I think if you ask the students, they've had some pretty good new options this year, like caprese sandwiches and new salads, and it's been fun watching them. I get pictures shared by nutrition services, and it's been a lot of fun. So our next steps, we'll be back on June 10th, asking the board to take action on the budget. We're going to submit our budget to Placer County Office of Ed by June 1st or July 1st. We're going to receive our information for the final state budget by June 15, and then we'll attend the School Services Finance Conference, and they do a really good job of summarizing and breaking down trailer bill language and helping us know how that fits in our budget and how to work with that. We'll bring you the 45-day revision in August. We're required to have it published. It doesn't require board approval, but we always in Rocklin bring it back to the board and share it publicly. And then we will have our unaudited actuals to share out in September. And at this time, I want to thank you for the opportunity again to present this budget and request a public hearing.
All right, are there any questions or comments for Jennifer?
I was just wondering, with a couple of the check boxes that say not met currently, is that because we're waiting to have the adjustment of this new COLA?
Are you talking about in the criteria and standards at the back
yeah.
of our packet? Well, some of those will say not met when you have big fluctuations outside of what they call our normal range.
Okay.
So for instance, when you look at our expenditures, because we had so many expenditures budgeted for the one time and like those 4s, 5s, and 6s, when we have a huge drop, it goes outside of the materiality range. So it does this kind of trend analysis because the state, that software has all of our years of budget. And so it will tell us, if you look in there, you'll see it tells you what your normal range is. And so when you fall outside of it, it just says not met, and you have to, and it's just a way for the county to ensure you can explain why you have that anomaly. And so that's what those boxes are. I know we had them in several categories related to the one-time expenditures, and that's why we provide that explanation. So the county realizes it wasn't like we had some budgeting error, we did something we weren't aware of. It really was related to intentional, planned expenditures.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you for your expertise on all of this and for explaining it so thoroughly. And I will now open the public hearing. Are there any comments for this? Okay, then I will now close the public hearing. And this item will be brought back for action at the next board meeting on June 10th. Thank you again, Jennifer. And we will now move to item 9.3, and we will have Marty Flowers, Associate Superintendent of Secondary, to present Rocklin Unified School District Language Arts Adoption.
I'm still trying to figure out why Trustee Counter looked at me about retirement. I'm not quite there yet, but anyways, President Hupp, Trustee, Superintendent Stock, and I just have to call out my friend Lucas for the last time. So congratulations. We look forward. A week from tonight, we'll be at Victory High School, and then Thursday night, we'll get an opportunity to see Lucas. So, however, that's a week away. Tonight, I come before you with an action item in regards to our English language arts curriculum. Just a quick background rationale. Once again, 10 years ago, we did this work in ELA and ELD. At the time, we adopted College Board, and as I explained, they basically kind of pulled the rug out from under us. They decided to terminate that, and so all digital access and consumable instructional material will no longer be available. With that, we have worked closely with CDE as there was supposed to be an ELA framework adjustment, but we've been told numerous times that there's no adjustments being made to the framework or standards, and so we feel comfortable moving forward. However, this summer they will be doing scheduling a follow-up on the adoption material, to ensure that we do align. With that, again, our program specialist, Amanda Bannister, is here with me, and I always appreciate her work because she's so thorough and has everything, including this timeline. So you can see here that the College Board made their announcement in the summer of 2024. We jumped on this. We went through the process. We decided to pilot 2 different programs, which we did throughout the year. We brought our recommendation previously as an information item, and here we are tonight as an action item. With that, some of the work that the committee does is they do review those ELA, ELD frameworks and Common Core state standards. They do this process, once again, as you know, up to the 8th grade. The state makes some recommendations. In 9-12, even though this is a 6-8, 9-12, Amanda really follows that similar process, and she's become an expert at this. Further evaluation of this curriculum was piloted in the fall of 2025 and in the winter of 2026. And there is student feedback as well as teacher feedback available. And as always, we include our parents per our board policy 6161.1. With that, the recommendation this evening is with HMH. And what you see here is the textbooks for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. As always, we're required by California Ed Code to provide a 30-day public review, which we have completed. We're committed to doing that, and once again, thanks to the board recommendation, we make that available. I don't want to steal Superintendent Stock's words, but 24/7, 365, that's available. In this case, actually only 30 days, but it is still up and available if people want to review that. The website was created, and thanks to Chief of Communications Dosanjh, made that available, and that's there, as well as all of our curriculum that board has approved. Digital access for the current adoptions there, and then staff is always available to answer questions. Additional information I want to make sure, as I just mentioned, all our board approved curriculum is available on our website. At the beginning of each year, secondary teachers provide a core syllabus. Moving forward, we will ensure that sixth grade teachers do the same. In that core syllabus is the material that'll be used, including the novels. We always have an alternative novel. If parents have an issue, they simply have to make that request to the teacher, and we work. And I also want to take an opportunity to give a shout out to our district librarian, Kelly Steffens. She does an amazing job with this. And then finally, as many of us remember, in June of 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court decision, Mahmoud versus Taylor, parents have the right to opt out of any of that curriculum material, and that process is available right on our district website. So with that, next steps, if approved this evening, we will order that and get that delivered to the sites. Amanda already has a tentative professional development schedule ready to go, and she will continue to provide ongoing support. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, trustees, do you have comments or questions?
You give me the thumbs up because you feel bad about the retirement comment, I know. Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah, I have just a few. So I appreciate the work you've done on this. I know you were able to give us some additional information as board members, and I just thought I would highlight just a few of those questions I've had as I've gone through this process and kind of looked at some of the material. But I do want to recognize the website. Thank you. It's very user-friendly. I appreciate the communication that's been sent out to families. The actual textbook and literature itself, I really appreciate the approach that the committee has taken with that. You know, this is a national piece that we see, and so at this time, you know, although there may be some information that some parents, you know, might feel would be good for them to communicate and have good additional conversations at home, and I encourage that and recommend that. My questions are more focused on the novels and the novel selection. So I just wanted to understand a little bit more about how these novels are used in the classroom. I know we were given a list, it looks like 3 or 4 books per grade, and how that would actually play out. I know on the information I received as a trustee, it did say, and you mentioned it aloud tonight, that alternative novels would be available upon request, but I didn't see that actually written anywhere on the website the parents see. How are parents notified of that? Is that by their teacher?
That's actually in the core syllabus that the teachers will pass out, and then they will talk about this at back to school night. Many times they'll talk about our sensitive topics and how we handle those, but once again, in the core syllabi itself, it will say alternative novels upon request.
Perfect. Okay, great. And then are those novels, I'm just trying to think the practicality of my kids when we've encountered some of these situations in our schools. Are these novels, do we anticipate them being read aloud in class, or is this a take-home novel?
That's really teacher dependent. Some do some reading. As you can imagine, some kids do struggle with reading, and they work through that process, but it's really teacher by teacher. And I'll ask our expert to speak up because she is a language arts teacher in her previous career.
Good evening. Typically, it's both. Typically, in our secondary classrooms, some of the reading is assigned for homework, and then the following day, a teacher will do a close read on an excerpt from that chapter. They also may read portions of it as read aloud. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's helpful. I'm just trying to figure out how a family would navigate this. I appreciate the sensitivity every step of the way in this process. You know, some of these novels have really important life situations for students to learn about and talk about. But there's some very intense material in there as well. You know, some of these you know, have pretty serious domestic violence instances of harm, father to mother in the book, an attempted kidnapping and a sexual assault described by an 11-year-old. There's a 13-year-old that's navigating the impending death of his mother due to cancer. Again, not to say that there's not great value in these books, but these are some really intense, deep topics. And I just want to ensure that parents aren't just alerted to a title, but that they really understand how they can best have these conversations with their child. So if a book is read aloud and a parent says, hey, you know, just for our family, this is going to be something that just might not be beneficial at this age, because as we know, students develop, especially in those middle school years, and 6th grade is actually part of our elementary schools, right? So again, I want to give the opportunity parents, but I'm trying to understand how it would play out if a book is read aloud in a classroom.
Right, so I can speak to my experience as a high school English teacher. There were times if I read a book and a family said, this is not a book we want our student to participate in, then I would identify, working with the district librarian and my colleagues, an alternative title that the student could complete, making sure that that title is thematically connected, that it culminates in a way that the student can still fulfill the essential skill and the assessment for it. Typically, if I were reading the class book in the classroom, then the student would go to an alternative location so that they're not part of the classroom discussion in which we're having.
I'll just add to that, very similar to the way we teach family life. You know, there's times that families do not opt out of the entire curriculum, but there are certain parts, and at that time, I just recommend communicate with the teacher, and for that day, if they are having those discussions, maybe the student can go to an alternative setting, but then join for the remainder of the unit.
Okay, thank you. And now, specifically, the number of books that are listed. So, would the course syllabus that a parent would receive for their specific student, would it say the actual book the teacher plans to read, or would it list all of them? I'm assuming we're not reading all of these books every grade. I guess maybe I shouldn't make that assumption. Let me start there. Are we choosing one book from the list?
Yes, we will continue to work. Once again, it was interesting. This go around, publishers gave numerous novels to allow choice. Well, then through the work of the committee and our district librarian, we narrowed that down. And then we were able to get down, and the thought being, if this is a 10-year adoption, you know, maybe they start, and we're only going to purchase one novel per grade, right? But maybe in a couple years, they want to do a change. Or maybe they find out after teaching it, this novel didn't really meet the standards that they wanted, so they want to look. And instead of coming back each time, you know, what we thought is we would bring forward 3 or 4 that really met, and from that, the grade level will choose one, and that will be in the course syllabus. So, parents will know ahead of time what novel their students will be reading.
Okay, perfect. And then, sorry, just making sure, the one that's being chosen, it's being chosen by the committee, so the committee just has not completed that work yet? Or is this, like these, you're asking us to approve this entire list and then teachers will pick and choose from it?
What our plan is from the list of approved options, there are 3 or 4 at each grade level, is the committee will continue their work. So we would like to bring the 3 to 4 titles back to the grade level teachers, have them consider which one would be a good fit in the classroom, and they would complete a proposal. And from that proposal, the committee would reconvene and approve one of those titles to be purchased as core literature, which then the families would be notified of. If that approval occurs after the course syllabus goes out, which at this point in the year is possible, then if the teacher plans to teach that book during this 26-27 school year, an additional communication would go home to families that there's been a change from what they reviewed in the course syllabus, and in secondary schools, families sign the course syllabus acknowledging that they have read it, and then the change would come forward as we're reading this book, and here's the process should you have concerns with it.
Okay, great. That answers my question. So that was a little bit of my concern that this work might happen after the course syllabus. And so my desire as a trustee would be that this is expedited to hopefully be done before the course syllabus. I know as a parent I receive many, many emails, and I really look to that course syllabus is what I trust is what's going to be communicated with my child. And so if there could just be a sensitivity to that, that if there's something that is changed or planned to be implemented after the course syllabus, I do think, just a static email is maybe not enough. Just given, again, some of the intense topics in these, I don't want to remove the opportunity for some of the great value that's found in some of these books, but I do think it's appropriate at this age level to have some sensitivity there and to really, really make sure parents know ahead of time, not the day before or a week before a book is pulled out in a classroom. That's the last thing I'd want to see. And then just my final, Trustee, sorry, I just had a little bit. Could you help just speak to a little bit why we included sixth grade in this? Our schools are set up a little different, and I actually really like how our schools are set up. As we know, sixth graders in many other districts are lumped together, 6th to 8th grade. Having had 2 older children and now 2 youngers coming back up through, 6th grade is very different than 7th and 8th grade. And so our 6th graders are actually part of our elementary. Could you speak to a little bit why we included them, though, in this middle school adoption?
We have included 6th grade in some of our previous adoptions as well, because that's that transition year. And some of our neighboring districts have 6, 7, 8 in their middle schools. Some have K through 8 in their middle schools. And so when the publishers create a lot of this curriculum, it's K5. Sometimes it's K6, sometimes it's K8. And in this particular one, looking at our previous adoption where they had the springboard, they need this material as well. So we've included them this time because they will be without because of the decision of the College Board.
Additionally, trustees, the last big overhaul of curriculum and standards in the state of California was with Common Core, back over a decade ago. And at that time, we worked closely with our schools to really take a look at the kind of the pedagogical progression that students go through. And we found that using 6 as a unified district, one of the benefits is we have that TK-12 continuum here. And so looking at how if we begin that academic transition in 6th grade when students are with that self-contained classroom, and a lot of our 6th grades do a departmentalization, that we begin the academic transition because that middle school year, that 7-8 year goes so fast, and it's our shortest grade span, that we really find that it really gives students that extra boost as they're going through other transitions in middle school, because you can imagine self-contained, multiple teachers, a lot of other adolescent changes going on. And so this really begins the academic change sooner, and we've found that more successful for our students to begin to do that. And we've done that in our math adoption, science adoption, ELA adoption, and so it's become kind of a standard way we look at the curriculum and instructional package, and we find it really helps families begin that academic transition as well when they're with that single teacher versus they're looking at that and then also just the whole complexity of a middle school.
Great. Okay. I will say some of my favorite memories with my oldest is actually 6th grade. There were some books that he wanted to read at school. I was maybe a little uncomfortable as a mom, nothing too far pushing, but it was just new. And so I got an extra copy for me, and I would read the same chapters at home, and I would be prepared and ready to talk about it when he came home from school. And so I just encourage parents listening in that actually built some beautiful memories together, and we still love to read books together because of that. So I appreciate your work on this. I'll just send trustees, I think just my biggest point of concern is I really would like to strongly recommend that we have the committee try to finish its work if they're the ones that are choosing the book, or if we're opening that up to teachers, then we ask teachers to try to do that before a syllabus is put out. Otherwise, I don't want to make more work for our teachers, but I do think we need to have some way to know that parents actually received that communication. To me, the syllabus is the best way because parents are used to that format. But just an email, I don't know how else you guarantee that they got the information if you send it out later. I don't know if my colleagues feel similar on that.
Yeah, I like that because then it gives them time to review the book too if they haven't heard of it. I thought the selection, I hadn't heard of several of these books, so I went ahead and read them. And then my older daughter had read 2 of them, and so we talked about them. I was wondering, because, I think I mentioned last time about the importance of novels and that they're finding that some college freshmen go into college not really having a lot of experience reading a novel from start to finish, and it's important. So the book Randoms happens to be, it's quite a bit longer than some of these other books. I did enjoy it, but is there an issue with a teacher being able to get through a full novel from start to finish if it's significantly longer than some of these other selections that you have?
There may be. That may be part of their consideration. You're exactly right. I don't know the specific page numbers, but Randoms is significantly longer, and that'll probably be part of their professional conversation about how realistic is this, how long would it take us to get through this, and they may ultimately decide this isn't a great fit for its length.
Okay,
in our
yeah,
classroom.
I think that would be
Yeah.
an important consideration. Thank you. I like, these were pulled from these total curriculum aligns really well with whichever books they choose. Didn't get any email parent feedback, but definitely would still be open to hearing anything if anyone wants to reach out on this. Thanks again.
All right, is there a motion to approve the Rocklin Unified School District Language Arts Adoption grades 6-8?
So moved.
Okay, first by Trustee Sutherland. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Trustee Price. Georgia, will you please call the roll?
Lucas Marquardt,
Yes.
Rochelle Price,
Yes.
Tiffany Sadoff,
Yes.
Michelle Sutherland,
Yes.
Derek Counter,
Yes.
Julie Hupp.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer Stahlheber, Deputy Superintendent, Business and Operations, will you now present Draft Resolution 252643, ordering an election to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds and requesting consolidation with the November 3rd, 2026 election?
Good evening again. So you just stole some of my words. I was going to start off with that we're here to review this resolution that would authorize placing a general obligation bond measure on November 3rd, 2026 ballot. Before we dive into that, though, I'd like to begin by introducing members of the team that has worked alongside our facility committee, which includes Trustees Satoff and Price, as well as Superintendent Stock, Senior Director of Facilities, Maintenance and Operations, Rain, and myself. So joining us tonight is Katie Dobson, Bond Counsel with Jones Hall, and Robin Garrity, who works with Props and Measures. They'll be available to answer questions that may come up. The bond program is intended to address aging facilities across the district. Several campuses are 20 to 30 years old, and 2 of our sites are more than 60 years old. Proposed projects include classroom modernization, health and safety improvements, career technical education upgrades, technology infrastructure, and critical systems replacements, including roofing, plumbing, sewer, and electrical. So this resolution was revised following the May 6 board study session and has been reviewed by Bond Counsel. Tonight's purpose is board review and discussion, and the resolution will return for a formal vote at the June 10th meeting. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Katie Dobson, our Bond Counsel.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you all tonight. As mentioned, before you is a revised draft of the resolution calling a bond election for the November ballot. The resolution has all the required legal language to call the election and to request consolidation with other measures on the November ballot. Appendix A of the resolution is the full text of the bond measure that all voters will receive, and it includes the bond project list starting on page A4, which includes the list of specific projects that would be completed at the high school and middle schools, and then at the elementary schools. Appendix B of the resolution is the 75-word ballot question that all voters will receive along with their ballot. And after reading this question, they select yes or no. And then Appendix C is the tax rate statement. And the district is in a unique situation in that a lot of your older bonds are maturing. So this measure would essentially continue the tax rate the taxpayers are paying now. Sorry, it's even lower, yes, at what they would pay, yes. Are there any questions I can address?
Me again. Hi, thank you for being here tonight. I am, as I understand it tonight, this is an info item for us to look at and communicate if there's anything that maybe we want added or changed before this comes back before us for a vote in June. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So I'm very interested in hearing what community members might share with me tomorrow at our May 28th town hall. So I'm definitely not decided. I want to hear from them. But previewing this, looking at it, there were just two things that caught my eye. One, I just wanted to call it an appreciation for that I think are just really important to me, and I want to make sure they stay in if we do have an item that comes before us, is the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee and the $82,000 matching state funds. I think those are two really important things that I want to make sure are called out in our resolution. I do see them already in there. Just want to highlight that those are both really important, and I think they're important for us as trustees and our community to acknowledge. But there was one thing I didn't see in there, and maybe it's in there just reworded in another way, so please help me if so. But if this is to come back before me in June, I would feel a lot more comfortable if there was something that spoke to the effect of that there will not be a overlapping of bonds, meaning we have had multiple conversations on this dais about the one remaining bond that is on the rolls, that it falls off. There's two series. I believe it's 27-28, which we see at reflective 2029. But I know that some districts have opted to overlap. I've been hearing consensus from my colleagues and myself that that is not a desire to have those overlapped. Can I actually have that put in there somewhere in the resolution so that way I feel comfortable about that, and the community members that are reaching out to me, that seems to really be a point that's important to them. Is that in there somewhere, or can we add that in somewhere?
It is not in there, and I'm happy to add that language.
Can I add to that? Because that is a question that continues to come up as far as the years that these are, the existing ones are over being an overlap. Knowing that, I know the Appendix B, it's like very limited on words, but also knowing that many people may not choose to read the entire document, I wonder if it would at least be worth looking at a possibility to include some reference to, right? I mean, it says no projected tax rate increase, but, right? I don't know, but I know there's still, because that's been a very, direct point that we've had, that it's no increase, but there still has been the question. I don't know. Do you feel like it? I want to say thank you. I know we had discussed some things at the study session that were updated to make sure that kind of the priority list on the projects reflects what we had discussed in our facilities master plan is important, and what the polling, of the community showed was important. So thank you for that as well. But yeah, I don't know.
I could suggest one thing. I think that we can, while still being transparent to voters, take out the word projected, because if you are not issuing, if you're not having overlapping bonds, you're certainly not going to be increasing the tax rate. So we have the $59 estimate, and if we take out the word projected and then add some language into the full text about the overlapping bonds, would that address your concern?
That makes a lot of sense to me, yeah.
Okay, that one then I have a little hiccup with, but let me, for a different reason, if we take out the word projected, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, I don't want to give percentages, but it is a very, 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 very rare possibility that there is some major crash that lasts more than 7 to 10 years that could, because really the reality is, let me make clear as I understand this, is we would not, when we poll a series, go above $60 per $100,000, which is accurate to say that that is not a tax rate increase because we are currently over that. However, how I understand bonds to be is when you poll that series as you pay it back through the remaining of that series, that dollar amount may change. And we have buffered in a very conservative amount to ensure that in pretty much all cases it wouldn't increase. But the reality is we actually cannot fully guarantee that. There is like a 0.0001% chance that that could change in some of the out years, correct? So if there's even the random possibility, I recognize it is so rare, but if it's a possibility, then I feel uncomfortable not putting the word projected in.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely a fair analysis. The nature of general obligation bonds is that at the time you issue bonds, you make reasonable projections based on your assessed valuation growth history and what's reasonable going forward. But if there were something nobody's expecting that occurs, it is possible that your assessed valuation could go down. Given where your tax rates are, it seems like a very minuscule possibility, but we can absolutely leave the word projected to give a little.
But I like your reasoning for, like, I still appreciate the approach of, like I was saying earlier, to make sure that we're not overlapping the bonds and that we communicate that to our community. But I just think that touching that projected word creates another problem for me. So I don't really want to touch that. Is there another way? I mean, for me, at least having it in the resolution solves it for me. For the reason being is, as I'm meeting with people and I'm sharing that, people are like, great, I trust you. I want to see something in writing that when we have the independent commission later, that they can point back and say, no, not just was the verbiage of what they said on the dais their intent, we actually have something in writing that says they're not going to overlap the bonds. And so for me, I feel like the resolution does it, unless you have another idea, Trustee Sutherland, of how to get that in the actual language.
It's really hard with the word constraint, right? Because I'm like, I was counting the words. I'm like, because Rocklin Unified School District, that counts as one, right? And then career technical education maybe counts as one. But it looks like no. It looks like they were just the name. I don't see, it's so, excellent job paring it really down. The only thing I could think was, it says all money staying local. Like, is that something, would people assume that the money would leave Rocklin? Is that something that comes up as an issue?
It is something that comes up as an issue. I don't know if it's an issue in your district specifically, but people worry about their tax dollars going to the state and maybe being spent at other districts. So that's what that, right.
Like, would that be like, sometimes I heard somebody say, like, if a grant, like sometimes, it might be reported out that, oh, here's a 3-year funding stream, but yet after the first year, the state reevaluates it and claws it back. But as I understand a bond, it's different in a sense of they can't claw back the funds. Once there's that match we're putting up, it's our dollars, and so therefore they can't take them back. What if there was something in the language that says something like only issued after?
I know, so many words, right? Yeah.
Cool. I spend hours doing this.
Like after.
This is just a reminder that one of the options that was available to the board was we could have them overlapping. And had they been overlapping, we would have been able to access an additional over $50 million. And so part of why we have that lower amount that's even being put forth to our voters is because we projected the structure of any issuance. So even if we issue it in 2027, knowing we still have that final August 2028 payment, the debt would be structured so we wouldn't have an initial payment until 2029. And that's why we had the lower amount. So it's built into even what we're proposing. Like, we couldn't do that without.
So you're saying by not increasing the tax rate, that is saying what we're wanting to say?
Not increasing our total bond availability and authorization, we kind of took that opportunity away from ourselves, right? We would have had the opportunity to access over $50 million in additional
Oh yes,
funds,
we could have accessed more money, but we don't want to.
Which would have said that would give us permission to overlap the authorizations. We lowered it with the intent that we would not have any debt service due, Even if we issued in 2027, because the measure passed in 2026, the first payment, debt service, would not occur till 2029.
Well, I think we get that. We just want to make sure that every layperson who is looking at the ballot understands their tax rate will not increase because of this bond, that it won't even be, this bond won't begin until the old one has ended. We just want somehow for that to be super apparent to anyone
I
reading
can
it.
absolutely build that into the full text of the measure. I do think in the 75-word ballot question, it's difficult to be more clear than what we have now.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the addition in the language will be good, and then, it's going to be just voter education.
And all voters will receive the sample ballot that includes the full text of the measure.
Can we also have it in the resolution, though, as well?
Absolutely.
So trustees, can you, just so we, because this is going to be an action item at the next meeting, and then just the high importance of this, can you restate what you thought you heard the changes would be, just so we can re-verify those before we finish this item?
Absolutely. So no changes to the 75-word ballot question in Appendix B. In Appendix A, the full text of the measure, and in the resolution itself, we will clarify that existing bonds, that the tax levy on existing bonds will not overlap with the tax levy on any newly approved bonds.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so we actually do have a comment on this item. So, yes, William McEnroe, would you like to come up to the microphone? You will have 2 minutes, sir.
My name is William McEnroe, and I've resided in Rocklin for over 37 years, along with 2 granddaughters who attend Whitney High. I have read the detailed master plan and have concerns and queries regarding the bond issue to garner the state funds total of $525 million, of which the taxpayers will be financing $288 million, which it will increase the property taxes. According to that, I have a problem. With the state budget concerns, will the matching funds be available, especially with the decline of students in the 2020, where there was 12,176, to 2030, it's estimated 11,501. Query, why are new classrooms and portable needed with a capacity for the students at 13,443? And why do the graphs in the plan have different projections? From viewing what is wanted and what is needed, it appears that only cosmetic work is being done with everything to make everything look prettier. Only a portion goes to the repairs. Why is outdoor learning centers needed, since in August and September it's too hot, and the remainder of the school year it's too cold with wind and rain? What is apparatus updates? Where are the funds for the facilities and the equipment for the teaching of students of vocational education? According to the last meeting, and so this meeting, it's only $22,000 allocated for other than college. The school board has established as stewards for the community. This bond is not helping the students learn, and I cannot go along with it. Also, the board has increased the teachers' salaries in a way that the other school districts, and increased the number of assistant superintendents to 5. The most interesting is that the board, I understand, has approved that each member of the board has a new stipend of now $24,000 a year. How is that curbing expenditures in the community? 14 seconds left. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. And I appreciate that we can't actually engage and answer those questions right now, but I appreciate very much that you come up and voice your concerns. Superintendent Stock, is there anyone to direct him to, or anything that we can do to help understanding? Yeah,
I would ask that, Deputy Superintendent Stahlheber, work to answer Mr. McEnroe's questions and to clarify any information that he's requesting.
After the meeting?
Yeah, I think they can connect after the meeting, and then she may not have some of those answers like at her fingertips, but make sure we have the questions, and then we can get information back to Mr. McEnroe.
What I can add, though, is that in our project list, we do have over 50 million in roof repairs alone. We have, I want to say, over 40 million in electrical. We also have in the tens of millions in sewage. So we do in sewer lines. So we have a lot of things that people won't see that are part of it, and it's because of the age of the facilities that we have these needs. We currently have 3% of expenditures every year that we dedicate toward our routine restricted maintenance, and it really, we use it annually, and so much goes because we have aged facilities, where we believe that in the future, we upgrade these electrical systems, we upgrade roofs, that it would lower where we're doing a lot of maintenance on really old items, that it would give us that ability to do other improvements with those funds that right now we don't have the ability to do, which I think is part of what incentivizes the board to provide sites with some funds to do those things that we can't ever really get to with our normal routine restricted maintenance.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we have Marty Flowers, Associate Superintendent, Secondary Education. He will present the addition of Board Policy 5131.8, Mobile Communication Devices, and revision to Board Policy 5131, Conduct.
President Hupp, Trustees, Superintendent Stock, in response to Assembly Bill 3216 that was previously discussed at the November 19th and May 6th board meetings, RUSD is required to update its policies regarding student smartphone use by July 1st of 2026. The proposed additions are mostly consistent with our current practices that ensure RUSD complies with the required components of the current legislation. That, with board feedback from our May 6th meeting, adjustments were made to meet the board directives. Specifically, in looking at this and working closely with some of our neighboring districts, you know, we have a high school districts, we also have some K-6 districts and some K-8 districts. In working with colleagues from those districts in meeting your directives, broke this up into TK6, 7-8, and 9-12. And where I said mostly consistent, there are a couple slight changes. In our TK6 area currently, it's said bell to bell, but that's really from the moment they arrive on campus until they leave, those are expected to be out. At the request of the board, it was mentioned that wanting students to have the ability to call as soon as school is out. So you can see there, it states once they enter the campus for the instructional day until the final bell of the school day. So that is a slight change to really meet the directives of the board. And then the other change is that 7-8, and as you know, previously discussed, Springview and Granite Oaks had two different policies. Granite Oaks will be going to that bell to bell, but at the middle school level, because we do have so many extracurricular activities and things like that, students will be able to use their cell phones once that final bell rings for the end of the day. And then, of course, we will continue with our high school. You know, they do, and I put in there, students may be asked to store their cell phones upon entering. That's been very successful at both of our high schools. And once again, students have actually said they appreciate it. So the required piece of Assembly Bill 3216 are the 4 areas where students must be allowed to use that. And that is in case of an emergency or response to threat, when a teacher or administrator grants permission, or a licensed physician determines the possession is necessary for students' health and wellness, and then if it's written into the student's individual IEP. So.
Trustees, are there any questions or comments about this?
Just to thank you for the changes made since our last meeting. I appreciate that. And just had it for the middle school. I know you mentioned, and they had shared with us, they had different policies. Was there ever a discrepancy between the two middle schools regarding breaks and lunches?
Once again, at Springview, they follow the elementary version of bell to bell. So once students enter the school and the bell rings, the cells are expected to be turned off and put away. whereas at Granite Oaks, they were allowed to use that during passing period and lunch.
Okay, so
In discussion with both middle schools, Granite Oaks will be adjusting that starting next year to where the expectation is the cell phones are off and put away during the school day.
and have we consulted with Granite Oaks staff?
Yes, they're very much in favor of this.
Okay. I have not heard from parents regarding a concern regarding the bell-to-bell. I have heard a concern about them being able to access their phones while on campus after school. And so for those reasons, I don't have other concerns unless anybody's heard concerns. I have not heard any from Granite Oaks parents. Okay, if nobody's heard others, then I'm not concerned at this point. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And next, Mr. Flowers, please continue with proposed new high school elective course. Oh, sorry,
President Hupp,
was there another
just a
comment?
request, since there were no changes to this, would this be something that could be brought back on consent for approval at the June 10th meeting? Since there have been no changes to this version, or would you prefer it back as an action discussion item?
Yeah, I think consent is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
And now we'll move on to the new elective high school course.
President Hupp, Trustee, Superintendent Stock. I will say that you see Principal Scott Collins' name on this. Since this was the last item of the day and he had other activities, I did let him go, but he would be available and present next time because this is an information item. But if you do need him back, he'd be happy to come. With that, I realize that our normal process takes place in January and February, and I do want to give a shout out to our teacher, Alex Anderson. His plan was to move forward and follow that process next year. But he really saw a need in working with Sierra College. He is a dual enrollment teacher, and he's teaching Business 159. Sierra College has goals of itself of getting younger students in high school involved. So as part of the dual enrollment agreement, he meets with a member from the faculty over there, and they really push their goal is to get younger students. So he agrees with that, and the material he's taught this year really isn't the level of a junior or senior. It's probably more appropriate for a sophomore, and that's that soft skills in getting students to understand resumes and interview things like that. So with that, he did see a missing piece here, because some of these kids that go up to that Business 3 class will now not have an opportunity to take that, because they're not going to repeat Business 1 or 2, where this new Business 159 will be going. That's why he moved forward and really pushed to get this, and I appreciate the opportunity to present this to you this evening. With that, a quick overview. You guys understand our board policy regarding high school courses, the adoption process I'll review, and then review the new course, and then talk to you not only about a new AP course, but the possibility of expanding some of our CTE courses. And as you know, this year we're offering the Administration of Justice, working closely with Rocklin Police Department, and the Rocklin Fire Department saw that, and they jumped on board as well. So still in the process, but I will review that. Board policy, once again, understanding a well-aligned sequence of courses foster academic growth and provides the best possibility use of instructional time. The board shall review and approve all high school courses prior to implementation. This adoption process that you've seen many times, typically it would take place in October, November. Once again, no disrespect was meant for this, but really a need in what's best for students. So, however, the school did follow this process. Principal Collins did work with his site council, department leads, and they were in favor of this. The new course recommendation is AP Business with Personal Finance. And once again, for approximately 60 students that will not have an opportunity to take the dual enrollment course because it's dropping down, they're going to be able to take this. So they'll still have an opportunity to get some college level credits. As far as what that course looks like, the demand out of a greater workforce readiness with industry experts to teach skills that are immediate applicable to business careers without a 4-year degree. And looking at it, you can see there's 5 units. Unit 3 is broken up into A and B, but all things that Mr. Anderson teaches in his class. And so once again, he was very nervous about this, so I keep saying it was not out of any disrespect at all for the process, but what is really truly in the best interest of our students. In addition to that, as I mentioned, I apologize at the time, Captain's name slips my mind. I apologize to him if he's watching. But because of the success of our Admin of Justice class that we're doing, I have the opportunity to serve on the Rocklin Public Safety Foundation. I got voluntold that I was actually going to serve as president this year. But at each one of those meetings, and we have a meeting tomorrow morning, Chief of Police Rustin Banks reports out to the committee, as does Chief Williams. And so they had seen the success that's going on. And once again, as you may or may not know, Sierra College actually has a great fire technology program, and they're very excited. I actually met with Sierra College today, and they're very excited to make this happen. It's on here because it's possible dual enrollment, as much as I would love to make that, you know, and I'm currently working with our labor partners on that. But if it's not, it's still something we're very interested in, especially when you look at AI technology and all that. We are always going to need police officers. We're always going to need fire people. So that's our hope. So we're working on this. It was a great meeting. This is also being offered in some of our neighboring districts. But once again, we're so fortunate to have a great working relationship with Sierra College. I'm very excited not only for this, but to complete that whole public safety pathway along the way. So the idea it would be offered at both high schools, opposite of the police course, again, it would be a 0 period because we truly need those experts to teach that content. And again, I will continue to work with our labor partners in hopes of coming to an agreement to make this a dual enrollment course so our kids not only get college credit, but they also get the high school credit. With that, next steps to make any necessary adjustments to the new course proposal, bring final recommendations to the June 10th board meeting, and if approved, the new course will be updated in the academic planning guide for 26-27 school year. And once again, I know this may be late, but this is exactly how we rolled out the admin of law course, and the school would reach out to interested students, and then they can register at that time at the beginning of school.
Marty, thank you so much for bringing this forward. I received the email from Alex about a month ago, and I know what you mean. He definitely meant no disrespect. He didn't really want to have to ask, but it was such a great opportunity for the kids that he sort of was willing to put himself in front of the firing squad and also work double time to get it all done. And I know Scott also had to do like a virtual site council meeting so that he could get his part of it done. And everybody's been working overtime to make this possible for the kids. It's not something that benefits them, but I know they were nervous about bringing that before the board because it didn't exactly follow the timeline that has been put out before them. So thank you for stepping out on their behalf. Trustees, are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, so just on the AP, the business and the finance, so just to confirm, the reason why we're doing it now is so that, because if we waited, the kids that are in school wouldn't be able to take the AP exam.
That is correct.
So this allows them to get that AP, to get that AP test, get the AP score, build whatever they need for their college applications, et cetera.
As part of that pathway, this was, the Business 159 was the capstone. And it really was just about a month ago where Sierra College said, our goal is to get that class at a lower level. So where these kids that are moving up that took Business 1 and Business 2, now they won't have an opportunity to take that capstone because they've already taken that class.
Oh.
This is really a win-win. We'll get the students at younger ages involved in college credit, and we'll be able to offer another AP course.
I think that's the right way to do it. Thank you for everybody. This is, it's out of sequence, but it's the right time to do it.
But it wasn't because of procrastination.
Oh, no,
yeah,
yeah,
it was
no.
because that's how it came to
You
him.
got to work it through at
Yeah.
Sierra College, and sometimes you got to balance, right?
Mr. Flowers, I had a question because I know there was talks. These classes sound great, but I heard there was talks. There's the personal finance piece, and that's soon to be like a requirement to graduate. I think my question kind of regarded like if students were looking at this as getting some like moving towards graduation, how could they fit that in with like the requirement with like government and the requirement of everything else? Because I remember there was discussion like almost like looking at it like making government senior year like like a semester class and then taking a personal finance class the other semester.
Yeah.
Is that like, how would students be able to fit like getting their personal finance credentials and then getting like their government and all that?
That's a great question, Lucas. That's all work that we're working on next year. A simple answer to that is right now you have government and econ. One of the things they're saying is drop the terminology of econ and it'll be government personal finance. And I believe that starts in the graduating class of 2030. Okay, and that's all work that we plan on doing next year. Will this AP with personal finance, will it meet that requirement? That's yet to be determined, but that's work ahead of us. But I appreciate you and your last meeting putting me on the spotlight.
No, that was an excellent question. I had the same thought. It's the 2030-31 school year, right? That ideally, if a student opted to take this course, they would be able to waive the personal finance, check the box, right? And which I think is great to have a couple of options to reach that goal, because I know, like in talking to parents, that's one of the main issues. If you ask them, what are their concerns, is, I feel like students aren't getting the practical skills, how to manage money, how to be responsible. And so I love that we would have an AP option to also achieve that end. So then with the slide on the dual enrollment, the fire, I see that it would be offered, kind of alternating with the other course. What is the idea on timeline for that, or that's TBD?
We're currently actually in talks with our union members to see if this is something that we could do. And once again, it really falls in line with how we offered admin of justice last year. So if we're not able to come to an agreement on that, we will offer that as concurrent enrollment and see our colleges willing to do that. Again, my hope is that we can get the best of both worlds and get the dual enrollment. But if not, I believe there's enough interest in this, not only with Rocklin Fire, but also with our students. And as I mentioned, every time you read anything about AI, there's a lot of concern moving forward. But there are certain jobs out there that AI will not replace. In police and fire.
So this will go fall of 26 if approved by board. And then the other piece is on the economics. As a former AP economics teacher, you can actually, our students now use the AP economics courses to satisfy the economics graduation requirement. So the finance piece would act in a similar way.
So both of these courses could potentially be in the fall.
And that's the work that we're working with our teachers that over the next year we'll be looking to see, is there a way to consolidate that, to keep the best of both and satisfy the requirements, and again give students an option to do so over the college level course.
I think it's great, and I think that will help to prepare students who want to go into that field of fire. I know that the Sierra College program draws in students from all over the place, so it would definitely give our students a leg up in pursuing that option, and supports our goal of expanding on more vocational learning options and those pathways. So thank you.
I know we did the criminal justice, very popular. I know we've done the forensic sciences, that was good. Fire, you mentioned it. Our competitors, so the...
I say competitors, our neighboring districts.
Neighboring districts.
Del Oro, Placer.
Yeah.
Roseville is also going to be starting a course next year in the fire arena. So,
excellent. That's very good for us. Very good. No, that's great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And now on to 12.1, pending agenda items. Our board bylaws require 2 trustees to place an item on the agenda. Trustees, do you have any items to discuss for consideration on the pending agenda? Okay, and then since we have no public comment, this meeting is now adjourned.